invite them to join the nation, the Natural Nation Network. Information you need to live your best life. Now here's your host, Oscar Hines.
Good morning, Houston. This is Oscar Hines. Welcome to the Natural Nation Network here on Synergy Radio. It is a pleasure to have you here. It's a little bit wet and gloomy outside, but the sun is shining bright in here. I have to say, I'm excited to have Wellbeing Simplified back, and good morning to all the smiling and wonderful ladies in the studio. Yes. Well, that is our goal, to get everybody healthy. And Good morning, Alexis. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning, Oscar. Good morning, Houston. The weather has dropped. Temperatures in the 50s supposed to be so I'm getting excited for that.
Oh, it's beginning to feel a lot like December.
Right.
You know, we won't break into Christmas carols just yet because, after all, my goodness, it's we got a few more weeks, right? Guys, so how are the wonderful Dr. Tracy and Heather doing? How are you all doing?
We're doing great. We are trucking along real life just like the rest of everyone. And, through the mess and the joys and all of that. And bringing Wellbeing Simplified, just a simple message of how to traverse when life is messy.
Yes.
We have our 3 R's, are kind of our recipe for traversing the messiness of life, and we've covered the first R, which is release, with breathwork and hydration, and Tracy talked about the first part of our second R, which is that rejuvenation, with nutrition last week. And so now we're going to delve into the second piece of rejuvenation, which is meditation. Loaded word.
Yes.
And I think a lot of misunderstandings around meditation.
But you know what? It is so simple. I was so scared for years it was just overwhelming to me, and I thought, meditation, I can't do that. That's what Buddhist monks do.
Right.
I can't do that. And actually, Heather taught me how to do it. Very, very simple, very easy, life transformative. I crave it now.
Yeah.
When I don't get to meditate, I feel like there's something missing in the day, and I really realize how uncentered I was before, and I realize how much meditation can kind of bring me centered, help clear the mind, relax me, and also, believe it or not, give me energy.
Yes, that's huge. But I think a lot of why meditation is kind of intimidating is because we have these images of these ascetic monks, right, that are, just sitting there for like 5 hours on nails or whatever,
Hot calls.
Yeah, that's right. So give us a bit of an overview of this meditation process and what we should be thinking about when it comes to that.
Oh, and that's a funny question. What should we be thinking about? And the answer is nothing, right? How do I think about nothing?
Everywhere, yeah.
Our mind's only job is to think, and in
Yes.
meditation, we need to give as we talk when I do a Present Time Kids, which is a mindfulness program in schools, we say to kids, meditation is a chance to give your thoughts a break. And that's a really hard exercise because it's the mind's job is to think. And so I want to talk about, just in a simplified way, if you don't believe, just based on what Tracy said, that this is probably the next best thing to sliced bread, which it is.
Right, absolutely.
I want to give you some really substantial research nuggets. There's 2 ways that meditation is life transforming. The first way is through a science called neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is our ability to change our own brain.
Right.
We didn't know we could do that before.
Yeah.
But we can through certain exercises. And meditation is getting a lot of press, and it's coming very mainstream. And was in Time magazine 3 times in the past year. And so with that, neuroplasticity, my 2 favorite ways to think about the way it changes your brain is that it helps you focus more. It helps with attention and concentration. How does it do that? It grows gray matter in the hippocampus, which is a tiny little piece in the back of the brain which is responsible for focus and memory and concentration.
Nice.
It grows it in the brain.
Well, I happen to know, as a matter of fact, that women have a much more developed hippocampus than men do. So,
Seriously?
And it's, I'm just putting it out there, guys. Sorry. You all already, because your memory centers, a woman never forgets. No. But your memory centers are developed. But this neuroplasticity helps to enhance, through meditation, the growth and the maturity of the hippocampus.
Of the hippocampus. So that's one point. So if you want, so it's wonderful for people that have attentional difficulties, wanting to improve their memory, just being able to concentrate more. It's the best brain training out there. Eat your heart out, Lumosity.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
you know what the statistic is? 10 times greater focus.
Oh my.
10 times greater focus for regular meditators. That's huge. So it's not just for the ADHD kids and adults. It's for anybody who really wants to focus and get all that chatter, out of the way. And now we know that multitasking is not efficient and it's not a good thing to do. Well, this helps you get out of that multitasking mode and into a focused, clear-headed path.
And I promise we'll get to exactly the mechanics of how to do it, because I think that's where people get really stymied. But the other way that I like to think about with neuroplasticity is the happiness quotient. There's tons of research that says that meditation can make you happier.
Right.
And how is that? Because, once again, it quiets the left side of the prefrontal cortex, which is where I have that wrong. It quiets the right side of your prefrontal cortex, which is where negative emotions reside. It quiets it. It awakens the left side of the prefrontal cortex, which is where your positive emotions reside. So we're talking about permanently rewiring the neural connections in the brain to be happier, to be more focused, and my favorite is stress on neuroplasticity.
That's huge.
So stress doesn't happen to us, stress happens in us, and it's about managing our stress response. And meditation is the gold standard of bringing stress down and managing the stress response. How does it do that? Once again, in the brain, it signals the amygdala, which is the stress center, that fight or flight center, to shrink. It shrinks the gray matter in the amygdala. And so therefore, there's less signaling from the amygdala saying 911 to the rest of the body, which is where, like to the adrenal glands, where cortisol is released. So less cortisol, which is our stress hormone, less amygdala activity, less stress. And we know stress is the #1 cause of disease
Yes.
in the body.
So the neat thing about
with the meditation, I just think that it's when you become present with self, like when you in that still time and that alone time, then you're able to really become, as you said, confident with yourself, knowing who you are, and then you'll get into the thought process of that. But all that definitely comes down to being present, being still, and able to recycle through all those different feelings, emotions, and thoughts that come along with meditation.
Well said, my dear. And that's exactly, there's a huge amount of research around the self-awareness and how it does bring more self-confidence and more self-awareness, because there we are with ourselves.
Right.
And it's okay for life to be messy, and it's okay to have these thoughts that are floating around. We all do it, including the Zen monks. I guarantee you. They're fighting those thoughts too.
You mean the Zen monks are like texting?
I don't know. They're thinking about what they're going to text when they're done.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. No, well, they've shrunken this side of the prefrontal cortex,
Yeah.
and so they're having fewer thoughts.
Yeah.
Fewer of those negative thoughts.
Wow. So the right side tends to cater to some of the more negative thoughts.
Emotions.
And then the left is the more positive areas. Wow.
Right.
Interesting.
So 3 ways that neuroplasticity, the rewiring of our brain, is it brings the stress centers down, it increases the focus, and it increases the happiness quotient. And then there's one other science that we talked about, I think in the first show, that is called epigenetics.
Yes.
And what epigenetics is very similar to rewiring our brain. It's basically a changing of our gene expression. You heard me. We can change our DNA. And so meditation, this is my favorite study probably ever. There was a woman out of UCLA, Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, who was a hardcore scientist, okay? And she's hanging out with her hardcore scientist friends. So, it's not cool to do things like study meditation. That's too woo-woo. Well, she took a leap of faith, and she did. And what she found was that meditation is the first and really only research-based mind-body exercise that can reduce and slow aging. That it can change your genes. She won a Nobel Peace Prize for this piece of work.
Wow.
And basically the mechanics of how that works is that you have on your chromosomes, you've got a little end cap like a shoelace. You got that plastic piece on the end of a shoelace. That's called a telomere. Okay, and it protects our chromosomes. Well, when we age, those telomeres shrink. You know, they get kind of tired from all the cell divisions and whatnot. What she found is that by meditating for only 12 minutes for 8 weeks, that these telomeres grew.
Wow.
So throw away your wrinkle creams. No, don't throw them away yet. Don't throw them away yet.
We'll be talking about that a little later.
I know. I
Yeah.
think Corey's got some. Don't throw them away yet. It just will help and embellish your wrinkle creams.
Well, and it's not only the physical signs of aging, it's the aging in your brains, it's the aging of your organs, it's the aging of, you know, everything within the body as well.
Which is, you know, eventually how we die,
That's
right?
Right.
That's right.
And so they
Definitely
found
makes
longevity.
sense because of the stress, as you said, because that's the one thing that ages us faster
Yes.
is the stress hormones and being stressed out. So being able to quiet those down definitely makes the difference.
You know, and we see it, for example, in presidents. Think of presidents past.
Oh, my goodness.
You
Yeah.
watch them in that 4 years, they get grayer, they get more wrinkles, that, you know, they're carrying the weight of the world. And we see that pretty consistently.
God, that's a great
They
point.
play golf all the time. They don't.
That's true.
Right, look at
There's a lot of golf playing. That's exactly
in all
right.
presidents.
That's right. That's
I'm not
right,
pointing
that's
anyone
right.
out.
Yes.
No, it's true, and it does, and it is proven. Actually, a really interesting study. They took some out of work, unemployed people that, of course, you know, you're stressed to the max when you're unemployed, and they let them have. They divided them into two groups. One group learned how to meditate, went to a meditation workshop for 3 days. The other group did something that was in line with stretching and diversion, comedy, you know, important stuff, but not as significant as the meditation was. And when they came out of that those 3 days, the ones who were in the meditation group, their stress levels measured through MRIs and blood work were down 45%.
Wow.
And,
That's huge. That's huge. Wow, I'm loving this. So, folks, you are listening to Wellbeing Simplified. This is Dr. Tracy Southwick and Ms. Heather Goodwin, holistic behavioral specialist. We are going to take a brief break. When we come back, we're going to continue and find out how we actually meditate to get to this point where we look younger and keep our girlish figures. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. We are back. You are listening to Natural Nation Network. This is Wellbeing Simplified. We are speaking with naturopath Tracy Southwick and Heather, and it is a pleasure to have you all here. We're having a great conversation about centering and meditating. So, you know, we were just talking about how you can actually condition and literally alter your brain and your genes, you say.
Yes, you can alter your brain through that science neuroplasticity. You can alter your gene expression through epigenetics.
Yes.
Many of us, you hear people say all the time, well, you know, cancer runs in my family or heart disease runs in my family. The antidote to this now are mind-body, well-researched mind-body practices like meditation. I mean, the American Heart Association folks just came out in 2017, very mainstream group, and did a study and have made a proclamation that meditation reduces cardiovascular disease, the #1 killer of Americans.
Wow.
So,
You want to know one of the reasons how it
why
does
is that, Tracy?
When you're relaxed, you produce nitric oxide.
That's right.
And that's what relaxes all of your veins and arteries, and the heart can pump more effectively and more efficiently. Blood pressure goes down. So people doing meditation, short term it brings down blood pressure, but long term it's even more effective. So don't think it's, you know, I'll do it one day. Yeah, it may help a little bit, but the more you do it, it's the cumulative effect that we talk about. So these Wellbeing Simplified practices, the more people do them and make them part of their everyday habits and lifestyles, the more effective they are.
And then there's also the cortisol reduction, right?
Absolutely, which is going to bring down inflammation
Yes.
and help
Right.
with weight loss too.
Yes.
And so with that neuroplasticity, when we're meditating in the amygdala center, that old part of our brain that still thinks we're cave people, you know, and we go into fight or flight, you know, when our kid's having a meltdown, you know, thinking that there's a saber-toothed tiger in my living room, when really it's just Sophia or Nicholas.
It feels like a saber.
Right, that's my amygdala.
Right.
It feels like it, like they're the enemy, you know, or whatever it is, my boss or work or the traffic. So that amygdala center, that organ in the brain, literally shrinks. And so when that happens, and that's the signaling center for cortisol. So when that happens, there's not a signal that's saying, produce more cortisol, I'm in danger.
Wow.
As much. And like Tracy said, this is something that it so can be accessible and so simple. It does not take an hour a day at all, and it can have a profound cumulative effect. Panic disorders, depression, anxiety. We've already talked about heart disease and even cancer. Tons of research around cancer. So how do you do it?
Yes, that's the question. What's the secret sauce?
Because it's one of the main ways to heal the body itself. I believe that too, that the body is made to heal itself. And way back when we didn't used to have the prescription, different medication, and different things we used to take, because they used to spend more time with self and meditation and mind, to where the cells in the body, the oxygen flow, all that had room to heal itself with that.
I love it. Right. It's when we have the Band-Aids that we have now, and we've kind of, as a society, become dependent on them, be it my Xanax or my Prozac or my Ritalin or, whatever it might be, it does, when we didn't have that, we were using these more natural and more innate inner kinds of practices that, we like to say our body has an innate ability to heal itself. And this is exactly how. Remember the Nobel Peace Prize winner? 12 minutes a day. And I will tell you that look, I'm a mom, I'm a therapist, I travel and I speak nationally, I get to be on a radio show with you guys, I'm on the PTA, I'm on the room mom, I'm wiping snot, I'm putting Band-Aids on, I'm
you got the S on your chest.
That's all of us, right?
Yes.
And so I don't have time for an hour.
Right.
I am telling you, I sat on my closet floor today before I came here, and I put my phone on for 6 minutes. And I meditated.
Right.
That was it. And that's sometimes enough. What is meditation? Meditation might just mean when you're driving to work that you say, my hands are on the steering wheel. I can feel my bottom in the chair. Look at that beautiful cloud. I'm right here.
But keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah. Don't close your eyes and start belly breathing, Corey, right?
So you're talking about being present.
Being present. So meditation can take many forms. I wear a bracelet every single day that says be present. That was given to me by a dear friend. And, there's many ways that meditation can take place. I can look at my bracelet and say, oh, that's right, I'm right here right now. My little boy just said, hey, Mommy, come kick the ball with me. And instead of texting or saying, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, meditation can take the form of just putting stuff down and being in the presence of whatever is right there. One single focus. It can be mindfully eating. I'm smelling my food, I'm chewing my food, I'm not doing my emails, checking my text, or even talking. It might mean taking 2 minutes while you're eating and just noticing your food and being present during that eating process. A more formal way to think about meditation is like, what I did in my closet today, where you actually maybe have a habit. Do I do it every day? No, I can't bite it off, because sometimes I'm wiping snot and running to my, clients. But I do it as often as I can. And what I like to say, so let's formalize this and make this functional. If you can find a place in your home that is a sanctuary, and I even have like a little special pillow, okay? You don't have to have a shrine and candles.
Right.
All of those things serve a purpose, however, to just signal like a Pavlovian response that this is me time. And the brain starts to quiet just when you sit on that special pillow or if you light the candle or go into your special spot. So I urge you to just find a special spot. Take your phone with you. And because if you set that timer, you give yourself permission to not stress about the fact that it feels like it's been 8 hours. And I've been sitting here for 8 hours, when really it's been 3 minutes. So take the phone, it'll ground you so that the phone can keep time while you work on just clearing the thoughts and focusing on one thing. So you sit on the cushion, you set your timer. Set your timer for 2 minutes. Start there. Just 2 minutes. Close the eyes and start with the belly breathing that we talked about a couple segments ago. We're in through the nose. Don't worry about the counting. In through the nose, the belly gets big. Hold it and notice your bottom on the pillow. Notice your forehead. Is it tense? Oh, relax it. Notice the body. Do a little bioscan. Okay, then out through the mouth, long, deep breath like you're blowing candles. And then feel it. Next inhale, just notice, oh, I can feel cold air coming in through the nose, and just say cold air. Hold it for a moment, and then out through the mouth. Notice the warm air coming out. So that's that single-minded focus. That's that brain training piece where the thoughts will come. And when they come, I like to say have a special spot for them because they will come. But we always come back to our anchor. And I like to first start when I teach meditation with breath. Just come back to noticing the air going in the nose, big belly, and noticing the air going out through the mouth, flat belly. And that's a breathing meditation, a mindfulness meditation. When the thoughts come, and they will, you will be at a point where you're like, I planned my grocery list, I did my Christmas shopping, and where have I been for the past minute or 2 minutes? Just notice. Zen monks are doing it too. That's your mind's job. It's thinking.
Right.
Just notice it and label it. Oh, there's a thought, very gently. I put mine on a cloud. I visualize and I put my thought on a cloud and I let it float away to the right. And I come back to the breath, noticing the breath, feeling the breath, being present in my body. It's as simple as that. And remember, your phone's keeping time.
Right.
You don't have to worry about that. There's nothing to do, nothing to plan, nothing to worry about in these 2 minutes, in these 10 minutes. This is your time to grow your telomeres.
Right. And you have to do that with being a parent, with going from here to day. And I definitely like to take that time for myself is when I'm in the car, in transition, from morning time, from getting her to school and then getting to work. So before I even get out of the car to go into the office, because now you have to switch from Molly mode to work mode.
Yeah.
And so you have to spend that time to be present with self, and with those thoughts coming about the day already, reaffirming yourself of your work, of, what you have to do, the greatness within you, all of those things before you go into the office. So when you get in the office, it's not, I'm irritated, I've been in traffic 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's, I'm present, I'm here now, and now I can start the day off.
Okay, thank you. That's Wellbeing Simplified. That's real life.
Real life.
You're doing it in your car.
Right.
You don't need the cushion in the closet. Seriously, you can do it. I tell clients a lot of times, do exactly what Alexis does. She's a busy mom, who has a career, and illustrious career, and, softball coach.
Right.
I'm sure you like
softball
those.
Right.
But that said, you're taking that moment in the car before you walk into your office, and you're presumably, you're setting your intentions for the day. That's meditative. You're probably closing your eyes and just being with yourself, maybe noticing your breath. I don't know if you set your timer, but I mean, that you can do it at a stoplight.
Now, one of the ways that I've heard and I like personally doing it is when I wake up, like when I just wake up, and I have different YouTube stuff that I just put my head buds in and just hear music or have a walk-through meditation, because we're almost in that alpha state. What's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. That is the very best time to do it, that and before sleep. But there's a lot of people, I think Oprah Winfrey is one of them, that's a really big proponent of doing it before your feet touch the ground. And there's just many, many reasons why, but one being that you are in that theta, that alpha state, that more impressionable state. Your mind isn't as busy. You're more able to rewire the brain when your mind is out of that beta and more into that theta and alpha state. And so, and again, kind of like Alexis was saying, you're setting your intention for the day. The tone for your day.
And in fact, I meditate first thing in the morning too, and I absolutely love it. And another thing that's beneficial for that is your brain has been detoxifying all night long.
Yes.
So you are in a much cleaner state, and your body is able to imprint all that positive stuff on the brain.
Absolutely.
So, great way to start the day.
I love it. I love it. Folks, you've been listening to Wellbeing Simplified. We have been talking about meditation and centering our bodies, and the idea that we can actually reprogram and restructure the physical quality of our brain. This has been amazing, absolutely amazing. For those who would like to reach out, we want to encourage you to connect with Wellbeing Simplified through the heights of health. The number is 713-861-6777. Again, that's 713-861-6777, or you can go to wellbeingsimplified.com.
And we have meditations.
We
on
have
there.
a free meditation on there. I forgot to say, if you go to our website, there's a 6-minute guided meditation on there that is good.
Awesome.
Focus on breath work. Yeah.
Awesome, folks. You got to check it out.